Well, welcome back to mid-Norfolk. We're in the Dell this afternoon and we're going to take the opportunity to divide and split some of these very well established and large clumps of snowdrops that have been growing here probably for decades, probably longer. But now is an absolutely ideal time to dig up and transplant and divide established clumps of snowdrops. And I've made a start here already. You can see some really well established clumps that I've managed to just get my spade under. These usually aren't particularly deep, but you can just see how densely packed the bulbs are just under the surface. Dividing snowdrops in the green is the best time of year to do it. Not only can you see what variety you're actually moving, but it also gives the opportunity to place them into nice clumps exactly where you want them. And if you can transfer a divided clump like this, I'll probably break this one up into 5 or 6 little clumps, each containing 30 or 40 snowdrops, and these will gradually grow away over the next coming years and fill out into an established clump like this. Actually does them some good dividing them. You can see some of the seeded ones end up very close to the surface, and by transplanting them into some fresh new compost you really can invigorate the clumps. This is a lovely full double variety. We've got all sorts here. These medium-sized flowers, full doubles. This one over here, very different variety. Just look at that one, slightly taller, probably standing around an inch above the flowers on the first one we showed you, but a single. I say it's a single. It still has got that central cup around the central yellow portion with those green inside, those lines down. It's a very pretty little tall snowdrop, but obviously a different variety to this one. And that's the miraculous thing about snowdrops. You can grow them in the same spot. You'd think they would pollinate each other and end up with a amalgamous hybrid, but you do tend to get these individualized clumps where they divide more by bulb division than by seed, I think. So let's get these planted out. We're gonna, as I say, break these into smaller clumps. The ideal volume that I'm looking to plant into a new clump is probably around that volume. So 15 to 20, maybe 25 to 30 is a maximum, and you want to get them more or less at the same level, if not a little deeper if they've been sitting very superficial in the soil where you're going to plant them. Now let's go and show you some around in the courtyard where I'm moving these to. Builders have finished round there for this year, so we're now popping nice big clumps of snowdrops in and giving us an instant effect. So let's go and show you that. Oh, this is the area where we're going to transplant some of these snowdrops to. Not the best of soil, a lot of building rubble in it, but it's free draining and does get baked during the summer months. But at this time of year it doesn't get much in the way of direct sun, and I think at this time of year that's perfect for these. Although it's not a woodland setting, because it's not getting direct sun, the snowdrops will be up reinvigorating their bulbs during the early spring and be died down by the time this gets a full summer baking. You can see last year we just sprinkled a few individual snowdrop bulbs along this planting. It's principally a little dog violet that pollinates along here. It's just about to start flowering. You can see just a little scattering of that purple flower, but it also gets mugged by these that are just crowns now of hollyhocks. But by midsummer these throw an awful lot of shade again back onto this raised bank, and we're going to top dress this with more of this pea gravel later on. So I'm just going to pop these few snowdrops into this hole. You want to get them, as I say, quite deep if you can. They can go 4 or 5 times the depth of the bulbs, and then just backfill with a little bit of this soil, gently working it around them so that they are still held nice and upright. A little tricky to do one-handed. There we go. Now these still look a bit superficial to me. Soil's quite nice and moist around here, but by the time we backdress that with some more of this pea gravel, I think the level of those will be fine. And you can see that's a slightly later flowering variety to the clumps that I've planted in the front. And I'm going to mix it up in here with the taller varieties, the doubles, and try and plant them in quite well established clumps so we've got that instant effect. I'm not as patient as Kate. I'm sure her technique with planting 2 or 3 bulbs per planting is going to give us a lovely confluent drift of these in around 10 years time. But I don't particularly want to have to wait that long. We've got plenty of these bulbs that we can move from other parts in this woodland garden. So I'm going to be a little overzealous and plant slightly larger clumps than I would normally recommend if you're looking to try and get these to go as far as they possibly can. Thanks for watching.